Hey.
Listening going public. I'm Colleen Flaherty.
And I'm Michael Flaherty.
And this is Flaherty's on Films, where we count down the American Film Institute top 100 films of all time.
We're siblings. That's also part of it.
That's part of it. Brother and sister, you see. Both Flahertys.
Yep.
This week, we talk about Forrest Gump.
All right.
1994. You want to lay down a synopsis?
Here we
Michael?
go. Here's from IMDb, the synopsis. JFK, LBJ, Vietnam, Watergate, and other history unfold through the perspective of an Alabama man with an IQ of 75.
Good synopsis, I think. I mean,
Good job, IMDb.
I don't feel like JFK and LBJ were in it a lot.
No, that's...
But they're like, oh, history is happening, I guess is their point with that list.
If I were to summarize it, I would say Alabama man has a life and does things.
Things happen to him mostly outside of his control, but it mostly ends up positively.
Yeah, and it's very sappy.
Yeah, and also I cry a lot.
I think maybe our synopsis is better.
It was really good. It was a really good synopsis. What's some initial reactions you have to this viewing of this? Oh, have you seen it before?
Yes, I have. I've seen it on TV quite a lot. There was a period of time in my life where this was like one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah, like I loved this movie for some reason.
I mean, I can see why.
Have you seen this movie before?
I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched it from beginning to end, but it's been on TV so much that I've seen it a lot or seen certain parts a lot.
And what are your initial reactions?
To be honest with you, I remember really liking this film, and I still really like this film, but not as much. Not as much as
I'm in the exact same spot. They could have cut the running bit. That's my initial reaction.
I mean, it's hokey, but I knew that going in.
It's hokey, it's sappy.
I think, but we'll get into it. I think overall the thing that got a little much was just the baby boomer nostalgia stuff might have been too much.
Oh, that sounds ripe for conversation. So let's go to our first segment. Bam!
Time for Sam.
Okay, Forrest Gump was nominated for 13 Oscars. It won 6. So Best Actor, Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
obviously,
he deserves it.
Yeah.
Best Director, Best Film Editing, Best Picture, Best Visual Effects, and Best Writing Adapted Screenplay.
Well, I have a note about that for our next segment when we talk. A lot of people in the comments were really mad because Shawshank Redemption was up that year and lost to Forrest Gump.
Good to know.
So obviously this film takes place over a long portion of this man's life. But for each transition, Forrest Gump is wearing a blue plaid shirt. So in every different phase of his life, the first scene he's in, he's wearing a blue plaid shirt.
Why?
It's just I think to symbolize that
he does not go shopping.
The time is changing, but he's still the same.
Maybe it's like a subconscious signal that, it's a new time.
I do think that was an interesting choice they made in the film, that his hairstyle and like they do nothing to age him. Like he looks exactly the same at 17 as I presume late 40s. But maybe Tom Hanks also looks that way.
Yeah.
As we've known him throughout his life.
To go along with the changing of the times, obviously he has different scenes where he's affecting different parts of history. There was a deleted one where he was actually going to meet Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was supposed to be on a march, and Forrest Gump plays fetch with the police dogs to distract him away from the protesters.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. It's kind of okay they took it out.
Yeah.
So we actually all watched the film together, and we were wondering about Robin Wright and her singing. She actually does do her own singing in this film.
It did sound like her voice. Yeah.
But interesting fact about that, when she does the singing at the Girls, Girls, Girls Club, she actually had a really bad cold.
Oh.
So, but she still came to work and stripped down and did the song, which is really impressive. In fact, the guy who throws the drink at her was told to throw it at her shoe because they didn't want to redo her makeup, so not in her face. Fun fact for me. In every single picture of Forrest Gump in this film, his eyes are closed.
Oh, okay.
Fun thing to keep an eye out on. I can never say his name. Gary Sinise, thank you. Actually started a band in the mid-2000s called the Lieutenant Dan Band.
Oh,
I love that!
He plays bass guitar. And they traveled around the world and played for U.S. military members overseas.
Oh, that's really great.
And actually at different veteran events. So, really cool. During one of the scenes, Forrest Gump is giving a speech in front of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. And his mic gets caught off or pulled out, so you don't actually hear his speech. His speech was, sometimes when people go to Vietnam, they go home to their mamas without any legs. Sometimes they don't go home at all. That's a bad thing. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, why didn't they do that? I like that.
Yeah.
And the last fact I have for you guys today, there's been several people who've run or walked across the United States, but there was a gentleman who was the youngest and the fastest at 16. He ran across the United States in 60 days. His name was Louis Michael Farrar. I can't pronounce his last name. It's F-I-G.
I didn't think that was possible.
It is. In fact, a couple people have done it, but he was the youngest and the fastest. He ran from New Jersey to San Francisco, and apparently he was kind of the inspiration for it. He did it as a promise to his friend who was dying of bone cancer, and he donated anything he earned from it to the American Cancer Society.
Aw,
Oh.
that's really nice.
And that was Bam.
Time for Sam.
Oh,
Here's
good.
a fun fact about me that I have eaten at Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Okay.
And here's what makes me mad about that. Why are there not more movie-themed restaurants?
Like Star Wars Cantina.
Yeah. Does that exist?
That must exist. Like
That
in,
has to exist.
in Disneyland currently, probably.
Like Pizza Planet exists.
Or the Godfather restaurant. That's probably a thing.
That's probably a thing. I mean,
So-
that would just be
so
a
they do
normal
exist.
Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
But so at the end of the meal at Bubba Gump, though, you get asked Forrest Gump trivia questions.
Whoa.
Which is really fun. And then I think you get like a certain percentage off your meal. And I got every question right except for how many Dr. Peppers did he drink at the White House.
How many?
It was something like 13. Like an impossible amount of Dr. Peppers.
So think of a Matrix restaurant, but they just serve you goop. That's a good idea.
If you take the red pill.
If
If you
you-
take the blue pill, you just have a normal restaurant.
It's going to be very tempting. Like, oh, this lie tastes delicious.
Yeah, I think I do want to live the lie, actually, and just...
That'd be very thematically strong. So what's our next segment?
So, this is a beloved classic
Every
film.
single person loves this film. That's a fact.
But there are some people who say otherwise.
Interesting.
So this is the segment where we go to the 1-star reviews.
You should
on
think of a
Amazon.
snappy name for this segment.
No.
Oh, right.
All right. Want to start us out? Now, I warn you, audience, there's quite a few of these.
So this one's by Roro?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a long segment. It was very boring story, and the movie was take a long time for no reason. That's why I hate it. It is long.
Not this review, though. He's concise. Roro.
Right, yeah, he's to the point.
The movie-going public must have turned off their brains when they watched this mindless and stupid piece of contamination. Whoa. Surprisingly, all the characters act meaningless, and they were awfully acted. Ooh. Plus, the special effects blending famous scenes from the past is just distraction to keep the viewer away from realizing the filth of this overrated film that will remain, in my opinion, one of the worst films trying to be sympathetic.
Yikes, Alistair, that's harsh. I wonder what makes you so motivated to hate this film.
Right?
Because it's such a uplifting, good time. All right, this is what Robert Hawks thinks. Dishonest is as dishonest does. Even Roger Ebert, a smart critic, even when you don't agree with him, is taken in by this visual and emotional trickery. But then he also describes Kevin Costner as an intelligent actor. So
he hates Kevin Costner and Forrest Gump.
And Roger Ebert?
I think he kind of likes Roger Ebert most of the time.
Most of the time, but wow.
But not in these two instances.
Okay.
Forrest Dump. I don't know how this piece of trash ever got made. Flush this box of chocolates down the toilet, honey. You don't know where they've been.
Man, that was by
John Watson.
John Watson. Oh, man. So much attitude. So here's from a customer. Mm-hmm. This movie's like a box of feces.
Wow.
Whoa. Ow. Go ahead. Expose your simple emotional buttons to Hollywood like the dangling genitals of a circus chimp for so much probing and manipulation. The real subtext here is that the American public, as stupid as Gump, brings success to cheap, manipulative Hollywood stories.
So?
Yeah.
This one is from Another Soul. I do recommend the adult remake of this film, Forrest Hump. Blah. That's the whole review.
Jackets Girl? Jetske? This movie is extremely overrated. I could have written this movies. No imagination at all. If they were to do a sequel, It would have it would have the removal of the Berlin Wall, the spaceship rolling up, 9/11, etc. Waste of time. What?
I think she would have to spell correctly, even if she's gonna write this movie that I'd totally watch.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks going through all these things now? I love it.
Yeah, maybe they should just remake this every 100 years.
Yeah, good point. Jazz Kit Girl. And our last one from Selinger. Gag, retch, puke. Well, I guess it's nice to have a movie for all the rainbow and unicorn loving cat ladies to be in love with. Me, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Whoa, harsh. Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Good review. Good segment.
All right. So, do you want to just get into it?
Sure.
So, overall, I mean.
So, yeah, I was thinking of a point. So, yeah, there's a lot to this film. It's very long. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of little stories. And I wonder if some of it is unnecessary or if it's not really very cohesive. Like, so one of the famous quotes is "Life is like a box of chocolates," and I think that's in there because one of the themes of this movie is that whatever sort of hand you're dealt, like you're just supposed to make it the best of that.
Yeah.
And Forrest Gump, of course, has a low IQ, so it's like he's just got to make the best of what he has. But he actually, in hindsight, maybe got dealt a really good hand because he's like,
awesome things just happen to him.
I'm really good at football for some reason. Oh, I'm the best at ping pong for some reason. Oh, I'm an American hero because I just did what I was going to do. He just kind of stumbles in. Oh, I'm just the best at shrimp boating. Like, a lot of great things just happen.
Ping-ponging.
Yeah.
I think the point at the end when he's talking to Jenny's grave, he says something like, either you have a destiny or things just happen, and I think it's a little of both. And I think, like, a lot of things just happened to him, but at the end of it, on the core, he was a good person who had good intentions. So, yeah, he was really, really lucky, and that's why he had a good life. But also, maybe that little other edge was that
I don't buy it, because that just seems to me like another theme of, is there a fate, or do we decide our own actions? Is there free will? That seems like a whole nother thing to me.
Right. Fair enough.
That doesn't really mesh well.
Because, like, Jenny, yeah, I don't even know how to explore that. Do you think Jenny is a good person?
No, I don't know how I feel. She's just a person.
I feel like people have a lot of opinions about
You know
her.
what I do like about this movie? Is that it's the structure of it is very unconventional, but it still totally works as a movie.
Sure.
That we don't really... I feel like this movie is... Forrest Gump isn't our main character. He just goes through the movie, and the main character is just people around him.
Yeah.
Like, anytime Lieutenant Dan is on the screen, I feel like it's a movie about him, and he's the main character, and he's what the story is.
Carrie Sinise was so good.
When Sally Field is on screen, it's like, I feel like it's her movie. When Jenny's on the screen, I feel like it's her movie. But it's never really Forrest Gump, which I really like.
That's interesting. I like that a lot. Bubba, also.
Bubba, yeah, absolutely.
I think... I just had this weird memory of a high school teacher talking about this movie and talking about like how it was a good example of women never choosing the guy that's right for them. And I'm like, that's such a weird thing to say. And I think the movie is actually very sympathetic to her plight. I mean, like, she had such a rough childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, she was and she was always kind to Forrest, even if she couldn't quite get to being in love with him. But I don't know how I feel about them ending up together. I guess it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's super
maybe
rich.
I don't have an opinion.
I was kind of mad that... So he goes on his long run, and through thinking about it, really the only reason he does that is so the movie has an excuse for him to not grow up with his... Or not be with his son as he's born and growing up. Which is, like, so obtuse. I don't like the running bit. That's my point.
Is that your least favorite part? Do you want to go to that segment?
Yeah, here's our new segment. Your favorite part and your least favorite part. My least favorite part is the whole running bit.
The whole running bit.
Yeah, let's
My
switch.
least favorite part is, I think sometimes this movie gets a little too, like, remember this in history? Remember when this happened? And I thought the worst part was when Elvis is staying with them and they're like, well, look at that little dance you're doing there, buddy. And then he does the dance.
But that's just as bad as Shit Happens. It's just as bad as Smiley Face.
That was really bad too. I forgot that.
But it's like, what a weird, like, why? Like, what's the point of those? I don't even know.
I feel like they had their filming location budget, like they hadn't spent it yet, and they're like, let's just travel America.
No, but I mean, that is part of the film, is that he is, like, growing up with with America, and he's a part of all these historic events.
And then he just wanted to see.
I don't know. It's cute though. I don't hate it, but I wonder if there's a point to it. So my favorite part would just be some Lieutenant Dan part, but I don't know which one. He's my favorite character.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it when they're shrimping people. They're so cute.
When he's on top of the boat, he's just screaming at God in the rainstorm. That's freaking awesome.
When he pulls Forrest down, it's like, I was meant to die out there. And like Tom Hanks is just like, all right. Cool.
Yeah. So those are all my favorite parts. Did you say your favorite part?
I didn't. I don't know what my favorite part is. That's a great question. I did love the part where Jenny comes onto the mall into the fountain.
Oh, that's iconic.
Yeah. I think that this is a thing about me as a person. I think I respond really well to emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And every key point in this movie where I was supposed to be sad, I was very sad. I cried.
You like that?
I cried when Bubba died.
Oh, yeah.
I cried at oh my God. And I think the best moment of acting in this film is when Tom Hanks finds out that Haley Joel Osment is his son. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks is just like sitting there taking it all in. And you can just see like every single emotion going on his face. And then he says, is he smart?
Oh, yeah.
Or is he like me? And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
It's
so
amazing.
Good. All right. So do you want to just kind of run through it real quick?
Sure.
So the first scene, Mikey, you said the funniest thing.
Yeah, I'll do a little voice for a second. So it starts with the bench. I'm thinking about the perspective of if you've never seen this movie before, if like you were in the theater for the first time and you didn't know what you're about to watch. And so it sets in on just Forrest Gump on the bench, and it's kind of just a little bit of a pause. And he turns to talk to the person. And does he go with the life is a box of chocolates line first? Or what does he say?
Something, yeah, I think.
He just starts talking like, hey, life is like a box of chocolate. It's very slow. And I was just wondering, like, the person thinking, like, is it going to be 2 hours of this?
I think like his first line is like, would you like a chocolate?
Yeah, that's it. He's like egging him on in the conversation. I'm like, oh, no. Yikes.
3 hours of this.
3 hours, yeah, because it's a long film.
It's a very long film. So then we go back to the 1950s, and I never got the part where he says he's related to the founder of the KKK, for Nathan Bedford Forrest, and that's who he's named after, and it's something like, so Mama could always remind me that people do dumb things or something, but I never really got that.
Okay,
that was such a weird aside.
They just wanted another connection to something in history.
Yes, but that seems weird. Mm-hmm. He meets Jenny, he hobbles around, but then he, I guess, gets cured by running really fast.
Right. He has, what was his condition?
I don't know. He needed leg braces.
Braces was
I thought
the
it was
condition.
his spine.
Yeah.
Because they said, this will straighten you out.
You don't usually outrun spine injuries.
Maybe he did. All right. Elvis happens. Yeah. That's really that. Jenny's the most beautiful girl. Oh, God. I actually totally forgot that Jenny was molested by her dad. I did not remember that being part of the movie. I remember she was abused, but ugh.
Right, this might have been edited for the TV version that
perhaps
a lot of people have seen.
For example, the Vietnam part was a lot more gross than I remember. So, yeah, and then cut to they're in high school, and they already look 40.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a football star, I guess, for running really fast.
He's running on the field, and he, like, is being chased, right? He's being bullied.
Right, because he doesn't think to run off the road. He just runs where the truck can go chase him easily.
Right.
Because he's an idiot. I guess that's important.
Because he's a dummy.
Right.
And he becomes a football star, and that's, like, 1 minute of the film. It's just like...
Yeah, really. It does get going. I mean, it's... I don't feel
this movie's dense.
I don't feel like we're waiting around a lot. And then he has to be named All-American so he can meet John F. Kennedy. Oh, we haven't talked about that. So apparently one of the cool technological advances, probably one of the many reasons it's on the AFI, is Forrest goes into this old footage that they doctor. And some of it looks really good. Some of it looks so bad.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Like when the presidents are talking, you're seeing their...
Well, we're used to that now. We see movies where they like try to recreate people with CGI, and we're like, oh, I can kind of tell because of the eye, but it's this like, oh, it's actually all. It's the whole figure that looks bad.
Right. Yeah. That was disappointing, I thought. Then he goes to Vietnam.
Meets Bubba.
What did you think about the Vietnam scene? Scenes. I mean, because we've seen
Scenes.
Platoon, so we know everything there's to know about Vietnam. And its moral ambiguity.
What do I think about them? I mean, I like Lieutenant Dan.
So much.
Right, and he's in
That
those
fun
scenes.
socks bit they did, it was all good music. Remember he says the most valuable thing you're going to have as a soldier is your socks. Keep them clean.
Oh, yeah. Again, the movie's very fast-paced, so I didn't really have any time to, like... There's no emotional moment that happens. It's like a lot of plot in those Vietnam scenes.
I liked the little bit they did where every one of his family members had died in every American war, and it was just Gary Sinise dying in the Revolutionary War, then the Civil War, then World War One.
But even think about like when he's running away, when Forrest Gump has Lieutenant Dan on his shoulder and he's running away from all the explosions. I'm not like, oh, this is so intense. The movie's just so full of plot and story that's like, oh, this is just the thing that's happening now.
So you never feel like a lot of tension.
Just in those moments. Obviously, when the movie wants to be emotional, it really goes there. But I think in the early parts of the movie, it doesn't.
Do you think sometimes that's intentional? Because I think like even in the moments when he's running away, Forrest is just so silly. That it cuts the tension.
That's what I mean. It's purposeful. When it wants to be emotional, it succeeds. And I think a lot of the time they just wanted to have all this story, have all this. Here's just him in American history, and just want to focus on just the events.
Right, because there's that scene where they're getting raided, and he's like, he's getting all these men out, and he's like, and then something bit me.
Yeah.
And it was all very silly. But then that Bubba part.
Yeah, that was very sad.
That touched me a lot. I really like that actor.
Yeah.
They
really
seemed
good.
like good friends.
They did.
When like Gary Sinise says, "Oh, you're both from Alabama? What are you, brothers?" Like, "No, sir, we are not of relations." That was cute. All right, and then he goes back to the White House again. Then sees Jenny at the rally.
Do you like the framing, the bench, and the cutting back to talking on the bench?
Yes.
Me too.
I think I do like it.
Me too, for a movie that has so many events and talking. And it is silly in context, so when they sort of, and I went to the White House again. Like those are funny, fun, cute moments.
Because I actually think they would have had to do more if they didn't have that framing device to keep the story going.
Right.
That narration was cute and it was a fun little thing. And that was in Savannah, Georgia, which somebody told Michael that he had seen that bench in that square and he does not remember.
I don't have a good memory. That's the thing about me.
Savannah's real pretty. So yeah. Oh, and also he's really good at ping pong. That's important. Because apparently you can become a ping pong celebrity.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay.
That's what I mean, though. Is this movie making any kind of statement when he goes, is just part of history? Like, is it saying anything about America? What is it? It's just cute, right?
I don't know.
That's all it is. It's just cute. That we just get to see all these events.
Great. Hippies are...
It's fun to kind of think about history.
Yeah, I feel like the counterculture doesn't get represented very well. Like, hippies like to beat their girlfriend, I guess.
No, it's not what represents.
So it's about like being a good all-American boy and living through the fun, cool America.
But it isn't really about anything. It's just here's some events.
Yeah, because like you think they're almost making a point with Lieutenant Dan being a disabled vet, but no, he's fine.
No,
he just needed to find God and
that's
get his shit together.
That's a very personal story.
Very personal. It's clearly not making a point about things.
Yeah, about solely him. But then for this movie to be just about America, it's like what is the point of any of this? I like this movie, by the way, a lot. But just
oh no, this is part of critiquing.
Right, but I just don't think this movie is very cohesive. It's not focused on anything.
Did you think I thought the Watergate was another one that was a little too much when he sees the break-in at the Watergate Hotel?
But I'm mystified by you saying too much because that's this whole movie.
I guess you're right.
When he does the shit happens, like that's not you went too far. That's what this whole movie has been doing the whole time.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So I guess the ping pong part was so that he could get a lot of money to buy the shrimping boat. Because apparently, again, big dollar ping pong endorsements are a thing.
Right.
Sure. Maybe they were in the 70s. I don't know about...
You know what this movie did not have enough of?
What?
Sally Field.
Oh, she's so great.
Because she's great. Anyway, go on.
She was very good. I thought it was weird how clearly similar in age they were, but...
Yes.
10 years, says our research. 10 years apart. I guess they tried to age her when he was an adult, at least.
I bought it as a youth when I watched this movie.
And I believe research told me that they had recently, before this film, starred as love interests. Yes? Is that correct research?
I think so.
She thinks so. I'll take that as absolute fact.
Mm-hmm.
So then a hurricane comes in and devastates the entire economy of this small town so that they can be extremely rich
Which
and
sucks
successful.
for the small town.
But whatever. I
Wow.
mean, he donates money to the church, so
Oh,
you get a
yeah.
big steeple.
Yeah, that's good, I
So
guess.
that works out. And they invest in Apple computers, so then he's super duper rich.
Yeah, again, this is not an arc for Forrest Gump. This is just stuff happens to him.
Right. We were talking to our dad about this, and he said something like, it was really interesting the way they showcased the poverty of the South. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, at what point? I don't know.
What I thought it was really cute that he gave Bubba's family all that money.
Yeah, it's a cute movie.
There's a lot of feel goodness, and I
It's
respond to it.
it's a sappy feel good movie.
But I respond to it.
Oh, yeah.
I dig it.
Oh yeah.
So what happens after? Oh, then his mom dies, and I don't know why. I love that part where he's like, so now that I'd met all these presidents, got the Congressional Medal of Honor, and was a multi-billionaire, the town got together and offered me a real fine job of cutting grass. And I was like,
Yeah. And you did it
just-
for free.
it was so cute.
It's a cute movie. It's a feel good time.
Well, so now that there's feel good time, Jenny comes back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her.
Because she has... No, wait. So Jenny comes back to just hang.
We maybe left out when she tried to kill herself, and she's had her whole side story going on this whole time.
Right, her side story of like being a musical burlesque guitar player. I didn't really get what that club was. Then she was into drugs. She got beat up a lot by boyfriends. So her recurring theme of I just want to be a bird and fly far away, that metaphor was a little too clumsy for me. They play Freebird when she's about to jump off the balcony. Come on.
Yeah, and what does that conclude with? You know,
She dies, I guess? Oh, spoiler. So, free, I guess?
I mean, was her character arc that she decided not to be free? Like, I don't know.
She decided to actually just be chained down with a kid and husband.
Yeah, like, yeah.
That was real freedom, was love.
Anyway, go on.
Sorry. So she comes and visits Forrest, then she leaves, so then he's like, I gotta go running for 3 years. What?
That's so the movie's kind of getting long at this point.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like,
I think, yeah.
cut this part maybe.
That was long. And I do think you're right. The most gratuitous part was the shit happens and the...
But it's just as bad as everything else, I think.
Yeah? You didn't think that was a little clumsy?
It's
Or
all clumsy.
Clumsier?
It's all the equal. It's all so clumsy.
Fair enough.
It's done for its own sake.
Fair enough.
Is what I mean to say.
So then we cut to, he gets a letter from Jenny, he's on the park bench, and he's gonna go see her. And who should be there? But Haley Joel Osment.
Yes.
Just being cute as a
Oh,
button.
adorable.
Do you think he looks like Tom Hanks and Robin Wright's kid?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought that was good casting.
Good casting.
Oh, so... Oh. I'm just remembering that scene and I'm tearing up. Oh.
Okay, and so Jenny's dying too. Is this one that's revealed
Oh, right.
of cancer?
She's got AIDS, man.
Oh.
I got a virus. They don't know what to do about it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they don't say AIDS, but it's totally AIDS.
Okay, it's AIDS.
And it's the 80s, so...
His mom had cancer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, his mom really died with dignity. Oh man, I was just thinking about how good his narration was. I like his little button narrations where he's like, and she had a cup of tea and then she died on a Tuesday morning. I like those little bits. So yeah, then they get married, and then Gary Sinise comes back with his magic leg.
Then his fiance.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. I actually was surprised that wedding wasn't going to be like a return of cast of characters that they had met. Like, you know, in sometimes in
Well, a lot of
cheesy
people
movies-
died during the movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been cool if Ghosts came.
Right, like Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly like Star Wars. Well, you know, maybe like Bubba's mom would come, and then like the Bubba Gum Shrimp Company. I don't know.
I thought Bubba's mom was there. Maybe I'm thinking
Maybe
of it.
she was there.
Maybe, yeah.
They didn't really showcase it. Gary
Yeah.
Sinise was the only. Oh yeah, you're.
This movie had a lot to do, so
That's
they
true.
couldn't spend a lot
I'm
of time
glad
on
they
that.
didn't. Let me
Yeah.
be clear.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she died,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's.
Then the grave, where he's doing that little
And
monologue.
he's so smart. Oh, Tom Hanks kills it in this movie.
He's really good.
I know
That
it-
guy should get an Oscar. That's what I think.
I wonder how many Oscars he's... Because, okay, so there's a recurring fight that Research and I have, where she always says, well, Tom Hanks is a great actor, and I'm like, he's good. But but he's always just Tom Hanks. And this movie definitely disproves my point.
Yeah.
Because he is so good in this movie.
He's amazing.
The accent work, the emotion, he just nails it.
And then that's basically the end of the film. He sends Haley off to school.
And then the feather blows away because we gotta fucking do that.
I think I like this movie the more I think about it.
Yeah?
Because just like, I think it's got a lot of problems, and it's like, what is this about? But if you don't think about it too deeply, like, this movie tries to just be cute and sappy, and it's like, man, does it succeed at that.
Maybe people are just annoyed that it's like considered one of the greats when it's just a fun, cute movie. But like, maybe you can just let people enjoy things, you dicks.
But like, being sappy and cute shouldn't deter you from being a classic.
That's a good point.
Right.
Why
Not only sadness and dramas get to be.
Why can't we feel all the feelings?
I don't think this is a very deep movie. Not deep at all. But it doesn't need to be.
I agree. Yeah, I feel really good about that. I wonder if we could get a third opinion, though.
You know what? I think that's going to be possible. Call Brother John. This is a bro call, you guys. Oh, Siri is messing up. Call Brother John.
Calling Brother John.
I just want to tell the audience that my goal was to not do the Forrest Gump accent, and I think I failed a couple times.
No, you did it. Here we go.
Do you think John's going to do it? I bet he is.
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
You are on Flahertys on Films. This is the podcast where we talk about films. This week we're talking about Forrest Gump. What do you think about the movie Forrest Gump?
Well, I'm currently watching Wonder Woman. I have so many thoughts about this movie, so let me go ahead and transition.
Yeah,
out of
shift
Wonder
your
Woman
mind.
to Forrest Gump. Because seriously, man, this movie gets World War I so wrong. It drives me nuts.
Damn,
All right.
those sound like good takes.
But too bad.
I'm sad. Shoot.
So, Forrest Gump, right. Michelle says she loves it.
Are you saying superheroes were not just around in World War One? Because we don't know.
I think Diana defeated the Germans. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, the Amazons might be real. We don't know.
Okay, I'm getting stuff wrong. Forrest Gump, let's focus, people.
Yeah. Focus. We're focused.
So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I always thought about two things. One, if you lived through any of those times, that must be the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Which I didn't, so don't have any perspective there. Two, I always thought it was interesting how Forrest Gump himself isn't. If you think about the movie from his vantage point, it doesn't make that much sense or even have that much value.
What do you mean?
But if you think about the movie as like with Captain or Lieutenant Dan and Jenny as the main characters, thank you, babe.
What did she say?
Michelle said Forrest Gump is the vehicle. Jenny and Lieutenant Dan.
We have said that too.
Michael said exactly that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then you're saying exactly my thoughts about the movie.
All right.
But Mikey said it in a more positive way.
Yeah. I said it in a way where I liked the movie because of that. I liked unconventional story structure.
Oh, okay. Well, it confused me at first, and then I got a little lost, and then I had to rewatch it. So.
Okay. Any more
A
thoughts?
little bit negative then.
Okay, that's fair.
More thoughts. It dealt with adult themes very well. I remember that because I watched this movie when I was 16, 17.
Oh, that's a long time ago because you're crazy old.
They dealt with the Vietnam War well. Dealt with AIDS well.
It's a little silly, even though
I don't know if they dealt with the topic. I think it just was on screen.
It introduced it in an adult way. How's that?
We feel like they're not trying to make any point with this movie.
That's
at all.
our conclusion. This movie is not deep at all, but it's very feel good and it's very good at being just emotional.
Yeah.
Well, to be clear, can you really make a point out of the Vietnam War?
Well,
It's bad. Platoon made a good it's bad point, maybe?
Bad.
Platoon made no point about it, and that was the point.
Oh, well, we're not going to get into that. But,
yeah.
That's true. You guys already did Platoon, didn't you?
Yeah. We're just saying it's...
Oh, I would have really enjoyed the bro call that one. But
Yeah.
that one. That's pretty good. It's a different movie.
I just think, like, for the Vietnam, it's very plot heavy, so just a lot of things happen, and then they're on to the next scene. So I don't feel like it discussed those topics.
But John, how good was Gary Sinise in that movie?
How good is Gary Sinise?
He was deep, man.
Yeah.
so
Coming out with that character.
We didn't even talk about Forrest visiting Lieutenant Dan in New York. How good that was.
That was so freaking good.
Oh, just...
Yeah, really, if you just, take Forrest Gump out of the movie, just focus on Jenny and Lieutenant Dan as two different movies, great movie.
I think Forrest provides an important levity to the seriousness of their stories.
Yeah, he's a good vehicle.
But he is a vehicle.
He is a vehicle. I'm not denying that at all.
Development going on there.
All right.
Anyway, final thoughts.
God, the Germans would have reserve trenches.
All right.
Not get this. They were not Belgian civilians just hanging out on the front line.
Okay, John.
And a letter grade.
For Wonder Woman, I'm going to give her a C minus.
Wow.
Oh.
She's so good at kicking.
I love
Hey, if it wasn't for Gal Gadot, this movie would be a straight F.
Whoa.
She is very good.
She's really good. And for Forrest
She's
Gump.
really good. This movie makes no bloody sense.
All right.
The Amazons might be real. We don't know. So for Forrest Gump, what's the letter grade?
Forrest Gump, John.
And the Greek god aspect.
Guess who's not-
Super long, not all right.
John, you're not focusing.
John.
Letter grade.
I already gave letter grades.
For Forrest Gump, what was it?
B.
B.
Okay. Okay, we'll accept that.
Okay. John, this was the best bro call ever.
Best bro call.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
I really enjoyed Wonder Woman.
I thought it was good. He's full shit. Anyway.
Let's just hang up and undercut everything he says. I
Yeah,
like
that
line.
guy's full shit. He sucks at everything. So what is your letter grade for this movie? What are your final thoughts?
I just am remembering that bar scene in New York and Gary Sinise just sitting there while confetti's falling on him.
Yeah.
And then the hooker next to him saying like, "I love New Year's. It's just now you can start all over." It was like such a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Okay. My final thoughts are this movie is good at what it wanted to do. It's very good. It's not too deep. If you don't think about it, I don't think that's what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna give it a straight A.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give every single actor in this an A plus.
Yeah,
As a
absolutely.
special aside.
Yeah.
I think this would definitely go in my AFI.
Me
just
too.
Because
Me too.
I mean, even for cultural relevance alone, like you can't escape Forrest Gump. If you've never seen Forrest Gump, you've pretty much seen Forrest Gump, right?
Should we close out with our sponsor?
Well, we gotta thank our sponsors.
We
this
have
week.
to. This would not be possible without them. They fund this whole operation. They keep the wheels running.
To keep the wheels running.
Isn't that? What is the expression? To keep the engine running?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep the wheels turning, keep the engine running.
You got it.
We were there.
You got it.
We were like,
History sort of takes these things and molds it over time. It evolves. I think that's what the expression is now. Keep the wheels running.
I think so.
Yeah.
So this week brought to you by JCPenney.
You got to look good for the winter season. So get your jackets and scarves and boots at JCPenney at a discount price. Enter the coupon code Flahertys on Films at jcpenney.com. And you're going to...
At JCPenney? Is there an at symbol in this web address?
No, that's just where you go. That's what you type into the URL.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. So, JCPenney.
JCPenney. Man, yeah.
Okay.
I had nothing more to say about that.
So, listeners, if you're listening, which I guess you are,
I should have said that's all I have to say about that.
that would have been really good.
Yeah.
Please rate us on iTunes, but only
Yes.
if you have positive things. If you have
Only
negative
if-
things to say, just turn it off, you weirdos.
Only if you shop at JCPenney can you rate us.
Mikey, what the...
I'm just saying you should.
You should shop at JCPenney and give us a 5-star
You should just
rating.
do both. If you can't do one or the other, it's fine.
So next week, we will discuss In the Heat of the Night.
What is that? We'll find out.
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
And cut.